In session, correspondent Beth Karras, all the way to the right, out there in Joliet, Illinois. Sitting next to her is former Peterson judge and in-session contributor, the Honorable Stephen White. Also, criminal defense attorney Sam Adams Jr. is in Joliet, getting ready to fight with me for the next 2 hours. And Meg Strickler. Look at that. Meg, where have you been? Great criminal defense attorney joins us as well. Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. All right, Beth Karras, let me begin with you with this ruling, exactly what it means and what this witness is going to say. This guy says that Drew Peterson wanted to hire him to kill Kathleen Savio?
Yeah, apparently, and offered him $25,000 to do it. There's no evidence at all that the transaction ever occurred, that any money changed hands. It was a conversation. Hector, when he testifies, may be cross-examined. Maybe it'll come out on direct. He was a little confused about the date, whether it was 2002, 2003. It is the state's position that it was in the fall of 2003. And you will remember, Vinny, that the first time the divorce settlement trial was scheduled was January, so it would be a few months before that. Ultimately, it was adjourned until April 6th, and she's found dead March 1st. So it is possible the state will say, see, he was trying to get her killed just before that trial date, but once it got adjourned, maybe he backed off. In any event, this was not a fellow cop. They had a conversation during a ride-along. You can bring civilians on a ride-along. And it is somebody he apparently worked with in a business he had on the side. They used to install cable TV stuff or something like that. And the state said, the judge said that the state cannot argue at the end that it was his intention to actually hire a hitman. Rather, this information is offered to show that Drew Peterson wanted his wife dead. That's why it's coming in.
Judge, this just sounds very compelling to me. It reminds me of a case I covered in New Jersey involving Rabbi Fred Newlander, and he hired someone to murder his wife, and he did. But before hiring that person, he tried to hire this borderline alleged mobster, Pepe Levin, and Pepe Levin came into court and said, yeah, he tried to hire me to kill his wife. So to me, that jury found that persuasive. I find this very compelling.
Well, certainly it's going to be compelling. Anytime somebody goes out and tries to hire someone, I'm sure on cross-examination, I don't know how they're going to get it out, but a $25,000 hit because, he was working up in an area that's a gang area and thought, allegedly Drew thought that he would know somebody up there that could do it. You're paying 10 times probably the going amount that you could get it. He's paying Chicago prices or offering Chicago prices, for a Joliet hitman. So, there'll be some problems there, and I'm sure that the defense will try to say, this is merely something that he was joking with the guy at the time he was doing it because he was going through a divorce. But it certainly is compelling because now they have somebody out there saying he did offer it. Then allegedly after Kathleen Savio was deceased, there was this call that went back to Pachter, and supposedly Drew said, well, remember that stuff we talked about before? Never mind, I don't need it. So that's another statement that will be coming in, or they will try to get in, and that certainly is compelling too, because he basically is calling it off. They'll argue he's calling it off after she's already deceased. So it is compelling. And there goes the motion for mistrial in the opening statement where, Jim Glasgow mentioned the $25,000.
That's right.
Because now it's in.
Now it's coming in. And Sam Adams Jr., regular people, this isn't something you joke about, is it? Say, hey, I'll give you $25,000. You find somebody to kill my wife. Hey, that's not a joke.
Well, that's not true if it's done in a joking context. Now, a lot of people have gone through divorces.
Do you know anyone that's made that joke?
Certainly. In fact, I've probably heard it 25,000 times over the years dealing in divorce
Rough
cases.
crowd you hang out with, Sam.
Well, I am a criminal defense lawyer, Vinny. But no, it can be something that is said in a joking context. Now, when she ends up dead in a bathroom, that's where you have your problem. I'm sure these things are said many times, and then they go about their divorce and they go about their lives. They don't end up having to come to a crime scene where the ex-wife is now laying dead on the bathroom tub. That's the problem here, is that when you connect the two, where you say, hey, a few months before this, he offered $25,000, and then a few months later, she's dead. That's where you have the problem here for the defense. However, Vinny, we're looking at this in a vacuum. We also have to take into account who's coming up with these accusations. My understanding is this man is about as unsavory a character as you're ever going to find, with I think it's former sex allegations that were made against him, and he had a number of criminal acts before.
Who are you going to hire to kill someone? You're going to go to the local choir?
But my point here is, no, but the point here is when he got in those troubles, even after these were made, he never brought it up to police. That's the point here.
Okay.
Is that even when he could have used this as a bargaining chip, he didn't do that.
I hate when you make good points,
only until
Sam.
This case blows up.
You know I hate when you make good points, Sam. Meg Strickler, here's the problem for Drew Peterson, Meg, the way I see it, is if any of these jurors are like me, I don't believe in coincidences, right? I just don't believe in coincidences. You're looking to hire someone to kill your wife, and then your ex-wife, and then she's suddenly found dead. I mean, that's just a bad coincidence for Drew Peterson, which I don't believe in.
Yeah, long and short, what hurts here is that we have a dead body. So if I was a defense here, I would kind of say, okay, it's going to come in. We know that. We argued very hard to have it not come in. It's coming in. Let it be a piece of evidence and move on. Because the more and more we sit there as defense trying to cross-examine and make him look like a scumbag or whatever else, we're kind of highlighting, oh gosh, don't let it in, don't let it in. Let the piece of evidence come in and proceed and keep going, and just hope for the prosecution to make some missteps, which they already have, and they probably will continue, and move past this damning piece of evidence, because that's what it is. It does not help the defense. It is compelling for the prosecution.
All right, we got a lot more to talk about, folks. A big day inside the courtroom. They're in a lunch break right now. That's why we've got Beth Karras with us. We're going to talk about some of the other big moments from today, some other important rulings by the judge. All right, Meg Strickler, what if this expert gets to testify as to what Beth told us about, which is that this accident or this bump on the head or this laceration, whatever damage was done to her head, would not have rendered her unconscious and allowed her to, fall into that water and drown. How important is that for prosecutors? And does this end up now? Would we expect the defense to come back with their own expert to say, oh, no, that's enough to knock him out?
That's exactly what's going to happen here. What's going on is we're getting the prosecution.
What's up with these doctors? I thought it was science.
No, gosh, no. There's battle of the experts. You can get an expert to say pretty much anything. And so you have to go to their background and their expertise and how they come off. Are they convincing? Do they make sense? And whatnot. So what's going to happen here is the prosecution is simply building their case brick by brick. They're doing an excellent trial technique-wise job. In a sense, they just put little pieces in and build a little case, and then ultimately they'll bring it to the jury in closing arguments. And on the flip side, the defense is going to do the same thing. They're going to knock down that same little house that was built by the prosecution piece by piece. And that's what's going on here. So, of course, this prosecution is doing what they need to do. They're just simply going to let this evidence come out and then leave it. And then the defense must come around back with another defense on the other side that says, well, wait a minute. It simply means, just like Sam Adams Jr. just said, it means she may have, you don't have specific 100% conviction that she fell and wasn't able to drown and that Drew Peterson murdered her. It just puts out a bunch of different thought processes. It doesn't open and shut the case, not even remotely. And that's what's going on here.
All right. Well, there was another ruling today. No. All right. Paula on Facebook. Do his kids have to give back the insurance money if he is found guilty? This is an interesting one. Let me take it to Meg Strickler. I'll give you the hard one, Meg. I gave the easy one to Sam. I'll give you the tough one. Do his children have to give back the insurance money if their father's found guilty of murdering their mother?
No, absolutely not. They're beneficiaries of a policy. So absolutely, they're totally, completely apples and oranges, unrelated. If he's found guilty or found not guilty, it doesn't matter. The children will keep the proceeds from the insurance policy. Not an issue.
All right, that's good news. I wasn't sure because I thought maybe sometimes insurance companies are looking for reasons not to pay out on policies, but they would have to pay here. Good news because these children lost their mother. And from what we understand, they're going to college, they're trying to get their lives together, they're doing very well, and that would be difficult on them. Susan on Facebook has a question. But So far today, we've had some rulings going for prosecutors, some judicial rulings going for the defense, and we've got the witness that Gene is talking about on the stand today. So who's having a better day? Let's bring in our panel of experts to find out what they think. The Honorable Stephen White, the former Peterson judge with me, Meg Strickler, great criminal defense attorney, and my best friend in the whole wide world, Sam Adams Jr., criminal defense attorney out in Joliet, also with us. All right, folks, it's the time of the show where we all reveal who we believe up to this point is having a better day inside the courtroom. So please reveal your votes. Look at that, a lot of blue and just a little bit of yellow. A little bit of yellow out by himself on an island. So we'll start on the island with Sam Adams Jr. Sam, why is today a better day for the defense?
Well, I think they're having a better day today because the more time that this prosecution spends on trying to prove up this is a homicide, it keeps constantly reminding the jurors every time they bring it up that it was originally deemed an accident, which means it wasn't a homicide, which means it wasn't Drew Peterson. They're spending a lot of time fighting back and forth. This is like a football game, not a boxing match, in my opinion. The jury gets to see about 4 yards and then a break, 4 yards and a break. They keep being sent out of the room. And the more time that happens, the more time it looks like it's the prosecutor, the more time that they spend trying to prove up a homicide and not that it was Drew Peterson who killed this person, the better day it is for them. And that's what I think today is. It's another day of them wasting time on proving up that it was not an accident, that it was a homicide, and that helps Drew in the long run.
Meg Strickler, you said it was prosecutors who are having a better day inside that courtroom today. You hear what Sam's saying about, start and stop, no momentum here. Why do you think prosecutors are having a better day today?
The judge did a very pivotal ruling this morning. He allowed testimony that Drew Peterson wanted to pay somebody $25,000 to kill Kathleen Savio. That's not good testimony, and it is very difficult. These are building blocks. The prosecution is simply putting these building blocks up, and they got a big, ginormous one given to them today by the prosecution. And then they have this fabulous expert out there. They're having a banner day. I hate to say it, but they are doing well today.
Well, I don't hate to say it. I agree with you, Meg. Let me bring in the judge. Judge, it's rare that you hold up just one card. It's rare that it's not green. It's blue or yellow. Today you say blue. And is the basis of the ruling to allow this alleged hitman in?
No, Beth took my other two signs, so that's the only one I was left with. So. No, in all actuality, Meg was right. When once that hitman testimony came in, the day definitely swung towards the prosecution. Their witness is on. Now, this is a pathologist, a neuropathologist. They searched far and wide for, I think, and got her, I don't know, a little over a year ago to where she was going to testify. So I don't think she's going to get up there and do the defense any favors. So this is definitely a prosecution day for them. And, if they can keep it going, then, they'll make that jury forget about all those other bad days that they had. So hopefully, I know they're hoping that they get a building block day here and they can really go forward on it.
And I agree with you folks that it was prosecutors having a better day today. And I say because of the hitman. You're surprised, Sam? You're surprised? Did I say prosecutors?
Am I surprised?
Are you surprised I said prosecutors?
I'm certainly not surprised you agree with him.
Can I remind you, we're in the prosecution case. We're in the prosecution case. Judge, let me ask you something, though, Judge, about this $25,000, because you said something earlier in the program, and we didn't have time at the moment to get into it, but I think it's very important because the credibility of this alleged hitman is going to become crucial for prosecutors. And you said $25,000 just didn't sound like what it costs, what the going rate is, what the market rate is. You said it's closer to $2,500. First of all, how do you know that? And is there any way, any way for the jury to learn about how much a hit normally goes for?
Okay, well, no, there's probably no way for the jury. I mean, I think my wife is listening, so I got to be delicate with this answer, I guess. But that was a joke. In talking to the police, with regards to the area that they were working on and things like that, When you bring out that amount of $25,000, most of the people they sit there and laugh, with regards to it, because it's just way out of line for what somebody, and particularly somebody who was in the drug unit, supposedly knows the area, would know, but they can't get that in. There's only one way they can ever get that in, and that's if Drew testifies. Because they're not going to be able to bring in an expert on hitman contracts unless they bring in Sam, call in Sam over here. But they're not going to be able to get that testimony in, and it's going to sit there as $25,000. Now, they come with some baggage too, because also in there, I believe it was Pachter who originally asked Drew if he could loan him $10,000, and that figure, and then it built to the $25,000. If you could kill my wife. So there's some baggage there, but unless Drew testifies, it's impossible to get.
And that's interesting, Judge, because me as someone who's never solicited someone to murder someone, and I just think $25,000 sounds reasonable, right? It sounds reasonable, but to people on the inside, and that's really fascinating here. People on the inside, $25,000 is way out there, and fascinating to see.
Well, that's professional. Right. That's darn near professional hitman money. So
exactly,
and I don't think when these guys hit the stand, I don't think they're going to think they're professionals. So.
All right, we got a lot more to talk about, folks. Drew Peterson's marriage to Kathleen Savio was in trouble well before she died in 2004, before the end of the divorce, right? Between Peterson and Savio, there were 19 calls to police during just a 20-month period. The calls were about child visitation issues, allegations of physical threats and violence. Savio, Kathleen Savio, not Drew Peterson, was arrested once for battery. She was acquitted, but Drew Peterson never arrested. My big issue of the day, we're going to discuss what happens when police try to police one of their own.